The universe doesn't warn you for fun. It warns you because the person on your mind is tied to your fate. That line alone already rattles the enemy because it exposes the truth they hoped you'd never notice. When the universe keeps pushing one specific person back into your awareness, it's not random, it's not obsession, and it's definitely not your imagination running wild. It's alignment, it's timing, it's cause and effect. Picture a compass. It never spins without reason. It only moves when there's something worth pointing toward. That's exactly what's happening with the person you keep thinking about. Your focus is reacting to something real. And here's a fact most people ignore. Your brain filters out 95% of everything around you. So if a single person keeps slipping through that filter again and again, that's your system screaming, "Pay attention." You're not imagining signs, you're noticing them. You're not overthinking, you're being guided. You're not chasing, you're being pushed towards something you're meant to understand. These are not coincidences, they're patterns, and patterns don't lie. Before we move deeper, thank you, Chosen One, for being here. Don't forget to pay this message back by pressing the like button and subscribing, because spreading clarity is the responsibility of all of us. You're part of a force bigger than you think, and keeping this light moving matters. Now let's shift right back into what you came here for. You saw the title, Chosen One. The universe warns you, do not dare to give up on that person. And if you're hearing these words, it's because the universe is not done with this connection. Something in you already knows that. The moment you read the title, a face flashed in your mind without your permission. You didn't choose it. It appeared. That instant moment is your first proof. When something is meant, your mind responds before your logic does. You're not here because of confusion. You're here because a part of your soul already feels that letting this person go would be a mistake with consequences. It feels like unfinished business. It feels like you walked away from a door that wasn't supposed to be closed yet, and deep down you sense the universe pulling you back for a reason you haven't fully understood. This isn't about longing. This isn't about weakness. This isn't about holding on to someone who hurt you. This is about a connection that still has purpose attached to it. People come and go in your life all the time, but only a few create that strange pull, that annoying inner voice that says, "Wait, don't move, don't shut this off yet." You know exactly what I'm talking about. That feeling has been following you like a shadow. The universe is warning you because there's a bigger picture behind this connection that you're not seeing yet. Something about this person plays a role in your growth, your direction, or your next chapter, and ignoring that nudge would only create regret later. You've already tried distracting yourself. You've already tried convincing yourself to let go. You've already tried putting your emotions on mute. Yet the signs won't stop showing up. That's not weakness. That's alignment, trying to force your attention. And let's be brutally honest, if this person wasn't meant for you to revisit, the universe would have removed them from your heart completely by now. But instead, their memory hits you at random times. Their presence shows up in dreams. Their name appears in conversations. You hear songs that were never supposed to matter, but suddenly feel like they're speaking to you. That's not emotional randomness. That's energetic interference. Someone liked your photo and their face popped into your mind. You scrolled past something simple and somehow it reminded you of them. You tried focusing on someone new, but your energy kept drifting backward. This isn't obsession, it's unfinished alignment. Here's another fact that destroys the enemy. Humans underestimate emotional gravity. When two souls share a deep, energetic pull, that bond doesn't break just because life got messy. It doesn't disappear because someone walked away. It doesn't vanish because timing sucked. Real bonds pause. They don't end. They go quiet until the universe pushes the moment back into place. And right now, the universe is trying to open your eyes. It's telling you that walking away from this person would create a wound you'd feel for years, not because you're weak, but because they are tied to a part of your journey that you haven't completed yet. This message is your wake-up call, not your comfort blanket. The universe is warning you that if you give up now, you're giving up before the story has even revealed its next chapter. There's something you're supposed to learn with this person, something you both still have to face, something that still needs closure, growth, clarity, or reconnection. And if you turn away now, you'll miss the very thing the universe has been trying to bring toward you. You're not crazy for feeling like this connection still matters. You're not desperate. You're intuitive. You're aware. You're paying attention to something most people would ignore. And that's exactly why you're a chosen one. You sense what others pretend not to see. Now let's take this deeper. The universe doesn't operate on emotions. It operates on patterns. And the pattern here is clear. Every time you try to move on from this person, something pulls you back that isn't emotional inconsistency. That's alignment trying to reroute you. When the universe aligns you with someone, it will not let you walk away without learning what you were meant to learn. That's why you're hearing this. You're standing in a moment that matters. A turning point. A place where your choice will affect the path ahead. Your connection with this person is not an accident, not a temporary glitch, and not something the universe wants you to abandon. There's something about them that ties directly to your future self. Maybe it's growth, maybe it's healing, maybe it's a reunion, maybe it's a lesson, but it's something significant enough that the universe refuses to let you disconnect. You're here because you needed clarity, and clarity begins with honesty. You're not done with this person, and this person isn't done with you either. Your energies are still touching. Your paths are still crossing. Your story is still breathing. As this message unfolds, you're going to feel things click into place. Loose ends will start to make sense. You'll understand why the universe is pushing this warning so strongly. Stay with me through every word. By the end of this intro, you'll know exactly why you can't give up yet. You'll understand the deeper reason this connection still lives inside you, and you'll finally see the truth the universe has been trying to show you this whole time. The real message begins now, and chosen one, seriously, thank you for staying locked in with this message. Before we go deeper, pause for a second and feel this moment, because the universe didn't pull you here by accident. What comes next is the part most people rush past, then regret skipping later. But you're not most people. You're someone the universe keeps tapping, nudging, and warning. Don't give up on that person yet, not until you understand the full picture. So, if you're ready to stay aligned and keep your energy open, drop 777 in the comments. It's a simple way of saying, I'm awake, I'm paying attention. And if you feel called to support the team behind this message, hit that super thanks button. Every bit of support keeps this mission moving, because clarity takes real time and effort to bring to you. Now breathe in, settle in, and stay with me. The universe is lining things up piece by piece, and if you're truly a chosen one, you'll feel the pull to stay until the very last word. Let's step into the message. Number 1. Fated connections don't just happen. Enemies hate this truth. Some people stay in your mind because the universe refuses to let them be forgotten. That line alone stings the enemy because it exposes everything they try to bury. They want you confused, doubting yourself, thinking you imagined the connection, but you didn't. The universe doesn't glue someone to your spirit for entertainment. It doesn't waste energy. It doesn't shove a person into your life and then echo their presence months later without a reason. When your path crossed with theirs, the moment didn't just feel different. It was different. And that difference is the entire point. Think back, chosen one. Your memory isn't lying to you. Something in the air shifted when you met them. The atmosphere felt heavier, sharper, almost too real. Maybe their eyes locked with yours, and something inside you paused, like it was listening. Maybe a small conversation hit you harder than it should have. Maybe there was a spark you couldn't explain. That wasn't coincidence. That wasn't chemistry. That was a universal appointment, the kind that throws your whole life off its predictable track. Here's what most people never figure out. Some connections aren't soft, smooth, or easy. The universe uses certain people to wake you up, test your focus, and stretch the parts of you that were sleeping. You might wonder, if they're meant, why is everything so complicated? Because easy connections don't transform you. Easy connections don't grow you. Easy connections don't challenge your soul. The universe attaches pressure to the bonds that matter, so you're forced to rise, not settle. And the enemy hates that you're starting to see this. They want you believing that this connection was random, so you'll drop it, abandon it, and walk away from something that actually has purpose. They whisper, "It wasn't that deep." But if it wasn't that deep, why does your spirit still remember? Why does your energy still react? Why do you still feel their presence when you're trying to move on? Why do signs keep resurfacing? Why does the universe keep pulling you back to the same person when your logic says, let go? Here's the truth the enemy never wanted you to know. Some people hold keys to your growth, your healing, and your next level. Not because you depend on them, but because meeting them activated something that wouldn't have awakened any other way. They're not an extra in your story. They're a catalyst. Picture two magnets. You can distance them, rotate them, force them apart, but the pull doesn't vanish. It just waits. That's the kind of connection you're dealing with. It lingers because it matters. It returns because there's unfinished meaning attached to it. You feel them at random moments because the universe is still aligning something between you two. That's not imagination. That's energetic gravity. And yes, it's messy, it's confusing, it pushes every button you have. But powerful connections are messy. They break your old patterns. They expose your comfort zones. They force your heart and mind into conversations you never planned to have. The universe will never let you glide past a connection that carries purpose, because purpose is louder than doubt. You're a chosen one. You feel things sharper than others. You notice details most people brush off, and you can't lie to your own spirit. You didn't meet that person by accident. You didn't feel that shift for no reason. You didn't remember them this long because you're weak. You remember because your inner world recognizes truth before your outer world catches up. Let's drag the enemy a little more. If this connection was meaningless, you would have forgotten by now. You wouldn't randomly think about them. You wouldn't replay moments. You wouldn't feel that subtle internal pull every time their name crosses your mind. But you do, because the universe isn't done with this storyline. This person is part of your development. They activated a version of you that you didn't know existed. Maybe they challenged you. Maybe they reflected parts of you you couldn't see. Maybe they disrupted your path just enough to force you into your next stage. That's why the connection still sits in your spirit. Not because you're stuck, but because something essential has not been completed. You're not dealing with an accident. You're dealing with alignment, and alignment is loud. So when you're asking yourself, why do I still feel this? Why can't I shut this off? The answer is simple. The universe doesn't waste encounters that carry purpose. It doesn't attach you to someone just to confuse you. It pushes you toward them because something about this connection matters to your growth, your future, or your emotional evolution. Whether this connection returns, shifts, teaches you, or transforms you, it is meant to be acknowledged, not abandoned. And the universe is warning you clearly. Do not give up on this person yet, not until you understand why they were placed in your life in the first place. The story isn't over. The pull you feel is the proof. Number 2, the gravity of a bond that won't let go. Enemies panic when two souls connect in a way that can't be erased, replaced, or ignored. Nothing scares them more than a bond that keeps surviving distance, silence, and logic. When a connection keeps returning, it's not obsession, it's orbit. The universe doesn't leave fingerprints on anything meaningless. Chosen one, let's drag the truth into the light. The connection you're struggling with isn't light, casual, or forgettable. It has weight, it has gravity, it has layers you haven't even begun to unpack. And the enemy hates that you're finally starting to question why this bond refuses to die, why it lingers even when life pulls you in different directions, why your energy reacts even when your logic wants to walk away, why you can't fully detach no matter how hard you try. Imagine this: two bodies in space. They drift, they spin, they separate, but the gravitational pull between them keeps tugging, keeps bending their paths, keeps pulling them back into alignment. That's you and this person. Not because of fantasy, not because of weakness, but because your energies recognize something your mind is still catching up to. And here's a quote that hits the enemy right in the throat. When the universe stitches two paths together, separation becomes an illusion. This bond feels heavy because it was never meant to be surface level. It's not entertainment. It's not distraction. It's initiation. The universe ties weight only to things that shape who you're becoming. You might be wondering, why does their presence affect me this deeply? Why does their absence shake me? Why does their silence feel louder than other people's words? Because weight changes everything. When something carries real spiritual significance, your whole internal world reacts. Your emotions react. Your intuition reacts. Your energy reacts. And this is where the enemy starts losing his mind, because he hoped you'd dismiss this bond as a mistake. He hoped you'd minimize it. He hoped you'd treat it like a random emotional glitch and walk away from it without asking deeper questions. But you didn't. You noticed the pressure. You noticed the meaning. You noticed the pull. Imagine you're holding a key you didn't know belonged to a locked room in your own life. It feels unfamiliar, but something in you knows it matters. That's what this person represents. They touch parts of your growth you weren't planning to explore. They open doors you weren't expecting to step through. They bring up emotions you didn't want to feel. That isn't chaos. That's alignment, pushing you out of autopilot. You may ask, why does this connection hurt so much if it's meant to help me? Because real bonds don't pamper you. They evolve you, they expose you, they refine you. And refinement feels like pressure, because pressure creates transformation. Here's another example. Imagine a diamond before it becomes a diamond. It looks like nothing, but it carries potential that can't emerge without force. The pressure is uncomfortable, but necessary. That's you. And this connection has been part of your pressure. Not to break you, but to form you. You might not like how this story unfolded. You might hate the silence, the distance, the misunderstandings, the back and forth. But the universe doesn't attach weight to anything meaningless. The tension didn't happen to punish you. It happened to prepare you. Let's slap the enemy with another quote. What hurts is what heals. What stretches you is what strengthens you. And what refuses to leave your spirit is what's tied to your becoming. Their presence shook you because it activated parts of you that had been asleep. Maybe they forced you to confront insecurities. Maybe they awakened emotions you buried. Maybe they mirrored your wounds. Maybe they showed you your power. Maybe they exposed blind spots. Maybe they challenged your patterns. Maybe they triggered your transformation. Connections that refine you are never gentle. That's why this one stung. That's why it cracked you open. That's why you felt the intensity even when nothing official happened. People with spiritual weight don't enter quietly. They leave fingerprints on your growth. And here's what the enemy hoped you'd never realize. When two aligned souls cross paths, they disrupt the darkness simply by recognizing each other. This is why the confusion hit you, why the back and forth felt unbearable, why you felt pulled and pushed at the same time. The enemy didn't want this bond to survive. He didn't want you to see what this connection was awakening in you. He didn't want you to understand that this person carries a piece of your evolution. Imagine standing in front of a mirror that shows you not only who you are, but who you're meant to become. It's uncomfortable, it's confronting, it's powerful. This person mirrors parts of you you've avoided for years. And that's exactly why the connection feels heavy instead of casual. You're probably thinking, but if this bond matters so much, why is it so hard? Why so many setbacks? Why so much pain? Because anything that can influence your destiny is going to attract resistance. The enemy doesn't bother blocking meaningless bonds. He attacks the ones that elevate you. He interferes with the ones that refine you. He confuses the ones that carry potential. This is why the silence didn't feel like normal silence. It felt like pressure. This is why the distance didn't feel like normal distance. It felt like something unresolved. This is why you can't fully detach. Spiritual residue isn't something you can shake off like dust. It lingers because the story isn't finished. Imagine walking through a dark hallway and brushing against something important without noticing. The feeling stays on your skin even if you keep walking. That's what this bond has been like. Even when nothing is happening physically, something is still happening energetically. And here's another quote the enemy can't stand. The hardest connections to walk away from are the ones that shift your entire inner world. This bond shook you, shaped you, pushed you, challenged you, grew you, and you're not weak for still feeling it. You're aware, you're tuned in, you're alive inside. The universe is telling you not to give up on this person because the meaning attached to this bond hasn't completed its work yet. There's still something you and this person need to understand, heal, reveal, or resolve. Something still living beneath the silence, something still moving beneath the surface. And here's the truth. If this connection had no weight, it would have disappeared quietly. No ache, no pull, no memory, no inner resistance. But it didn't vanish. It stayed, it lingered, it haunted your thoughts, it tapped on your intuition, it touched your emotions, even when you tried to shut the door. The weight you feel is proof that this bond was never ordinary. It's part of your evolution, it's part of your awakening, it's part of your next chapter, and the universe is warning you, don't walk away from something meaningful just because it's heavy. Heavy things shape you. This connection matters. That's why it still lives in your spirit. Number 3. The hidden war that wants your bond dead. Enemies don't fear your feelings. They fear the power you two create when you stop running from the truth. Chosen one, let's tear the mask off what's really happening. The pressure around this connection isn't normal. It isn't random, and it's definitely not just bad timing. What you're feeling is a war, not in your mind, not in your heart, but in the unseen space where energy, intention, and purpose collide. When a bond has the potential to shift your path, the universe moves pieces, but the enemy, he scrambles to break them. Here's the uncomfortable truth. The stronger the connection, the uglier the interference, and you've felt it. The sudden irritation over something small, the misunderstandings that didn't even make sense, the emotional shutdowns, the silence that arrived out of nowhere, the heavy feeling in your chest telling you something bigger is at play. Nothing meaningful falls apart quietly. It gets attacked first. Imagine two flames. Alone, they flicker. Together, they blaze so high they threaten to burn down every limit around them. The enemy sees that wildfire potential before you do, so he doesn't attack loudly. He clips the bond quietly, bit by bit. Doubt, overthinking, old wounds resurfacing, misreading each other, feeling abandoned, feeling replaced, feeling like walking away might be the smart move. But ask yourself something. If this bond was meaningless, why did the enemy go through the trouble? Why did the energy shift the moment you got close? Why did everything suddenly feel heavier right when the connection started deepening? Imagine someone loosening the screws on a bridge, not enough to collapse it instantly, but enough to make it wobble until travelers think it's unsafe. That's what's happening to your bond. The enemy doesn't destroy meaningful connections with explosions. He sabotages them with subtlety. And here's a quote that slices through the fog. What you're fighting isn't the person, it's the interference trying to rewrite your story. Chosen one, don't fall for the trap. Don't label this bond as too complicated. Don't blame yourself or them for every moment of tension. The enemy wants you exhausted, so giving up feels logical. But walking away now wouldn't be freedom. It would be surrendering something the universe still has plans for. Stay aware, stay grounded, stay aligned. The war isn't against you, it's against what you two could become. Number 4. Endurance is the doorway to your destiny. Enemies don't fear the bond that starts fast. They fear the bond that survives the storms. Chosen one, let's stop pretending this connection was ever meant to be soft or easy. It wasn't built for comfort. It was built for purpose. And purpose is always tested. If this bond were meaningless, it would have faded like all the temporary people you forgot years ago. But it didn't. It stayed. It pressed. It pulled. It evolved. That pressure is your clue. You might be asking yourself, why does holding on feel like a battle? Because every connection tied to your growth comes with resistance. Not to break you, but to reveal what you're capable of. The universe uses endurance, the way fire uses heat, to strengthen, not destroy. Imagine two soldiers fighting back-to-back in a battlefield neither expected. Alone, they'd get overwhelmed. Together, they become unstoppable. That's the energy this bond carries. Your path wasn't designed to be walked entirely alone, no matter how strong you think you are. The universe knew there would be battles too heavy for one person, moments too sharp for a single heart to hold, so it aligned you with someone whose presence activates your deeper self. And here's a gut-punch truth. What feels like grief when you pull away is your spirit screaming, This matters. If walking away didn't choke your chest, if distancing didn't feel like losing a piece of yourself, if silence didn't echo louder than noise, you'd know it was over, but your heart reacts because your intuition sees what your logic is trying to run from. Imagine a lock and a key. Separate, they're just objects. Together, they release something bigger than themselves. That's the kind of partnership the universe nudged toward you, not perfect, not polished, but powerful. The enemy knows what this unity could unlock. Healing you didn't think was possible, strength you forgot you had, growth that requires two energies working in sync. That's why the pressure increased. That's why the confusion hit you at the worst times. That's why you felt torn. Not because this is wrong, but because this is significant. Here's another quote that slices clean. Anything that can change your future will always be attacked in the present. Chosen one, stop mistaking the wait for a warning to leave. Sometimes the wait is the very proof that the connection carries destiny. Endurance isn't suffering. Endurance is the universe sharpening you for what comes next. And giving up now wouldn't just mean losing a person. It would mean abandoning the purpose that bond was meant to awaken. Stay aware. Stay strong. The pressure has meaning. Number 5. Pressure always shows up before the breakthrough hits. Enemies don't attack what's weak. They attack what's about to explode into purpose. Chosen one, if you only knew how close you are to the turning point, you'd stop calling this season a breakdown and start calling it the warm-up before impact. The storm you're standing in isn't here to crush you. It's here to confirm you. Pressure doesn't show up for people who don't matter. It shows up for the ones who are carrying something the enemy is terrified of. Think about it. If this bond were meaningless, why would everything around it shake the moment things start getting real? Why the sudden tension? Why the weird silence? Why the emotional heaviness out of nowhere? Because pressure isn't punishment. Pressure is proof. Imagine a rocket right before liftoff. The ground shakes, metal groans, heat builds, and everything looks like it might fall apart. But that chaos is the sign the launch is seconds away. That's your life right now. That's this connection. The intensity isn't a warning to quit. It's the signal that something powerful is forming beneath the surface. Here's a quote that lands hard. What hurts the most is usually what's about to matter the most. The pain in your chest, the confusion in your mind, the way this bond keeps resurfacing even when you try to bury it, none of that is random. Only missions under fire feel like this. Only meaningful connections attract this level of interference. The enemy doesn't waste energy fighting things he isn't threatened by. Imagine a seed underground. Before it breaks through the soil, it faces pressure from every side. It's dark, it's tight, it feels impossible, but that pressure is what forces it upward. That's exactly what you're experiencing. Your discomfort is a setup for elevation. You might be asking, why does this bond feel so heavy if it's supposed to matter? Because purpose never arrives in silence. Purpose arrives through friction, stretching, and moments that force you to evolve. Another truth the enemy hates. The closer you get to breakthrough, the louder the resistance gets. Chosen one, don't misread the storm. The pressure isn't here to push you away from this connection. It's here to prepare you for what the universe is shaping through it. You're not failing. You're forming. Number 6. Quitting early is how destiny gets stolen. Enemies don't need to destroy you. They just need you to walk away 5 minutes before everything shifts. Chosen one, this is the part where most people ruin their own story. Not because they're weak, not because the universe abandoned them, but because quitting feels easier than enduring the pressure. And right now, your mind is whispering all the logical reasons to detach. But logic isn't always truth. Silence isn't rejection. Delay isn't denial, and discomfort isn't a sign to walk away. If you're tempted to give up, ask yourself this brutal question. Would letting go actually bring peace, or would it just bring regret wrapped in temporary relief? Imagine planting a seed. It disappears under the soil. It looks dead. Nothing moves. Nothing shifts. If you didn't know better, you'd dig it up and call it a failure. But beneath the dirt, the seed is fighting, expanding, breaking open, forming roots. It's alive, even when you can't see its progress. That's your connection right now, unseen but active, quiet but building, hidden but forming. And here's a gut punch fact. The universe does its best work behind the scenes, not in front of your eyes. If you pull the seed out too early, you don't just interrupt growth. You kill what was about to bloom. The same truth applies to this bond. You might be one conversation away from clarity, one shift away from healing, one moment away from everything making sense. But the enemy wants you exhausted before you reach that moment. Imagine a miner who quits digging 3 inches before striking gold. The veins of treasure were right there. He just couldn't see them yet. That's how the enemy steals the breakthroughs of chosen ones, not by overpowering them, but by convincing them that nothing is happening. You may be thinking, but what if waiting makes me look foolish? Looking foolish for holding on is better than looking broken for abandoning something the universe was preparing for you. Here's another truth the enemy hates. Patience isn't weakness, it's a weapon. Chosen one, the danger isn't in failing. The danger is in stopping right before the shift. Don't hand the enemy the victory he couldn't earn. Don't abort a connection that's still developing. Don't walk away because it's quiet. Quiet seasons are when the universe builds foundations. Endurance isn't suffering. Endurance is alignment, and giving up now would cost you more than holding on ever will. Number 7. Stop swinging emotionally. Start fighting with strategy. Enemies don't beat you with force. They beat you by convincing you to react instead of think. Chosen one, this season isn't passive. It's war, but not the kind you fight with arguments, overthinking, or emotional explosions. Those are the traps. The enemy knows if he can get you reacting, he can get you losing. Emotional warfare is his favorite playground because it makes you sabotage the very connection the universe is trying to protect. You're probably asking, if I'm not supposed to react, then what am I supposed to do? You fight differently now. You fight with alignment, intention, focus, clarity. You fight spiritually, not emotionally. Here's a truth that snaps everything into place. Emotional reactions destroy what spiritual discipline could have saved. Imagine 2 people trying to repair a cracked bridge while standing on it during a storm. Every sudden movement only breaks it faster. That's what emotional arguing does. It shakes what's already shaky. It burns what's already fragile. It pulls you and this person further apart when the universe is trying to pull you closer. Instead of reacting, you shift your approach. Instead of firing back, you breathe. Instead of spiraling, you stay grounded. Instead of assuming the worst, you hold the bigger picture in mind. Picture a chess master. They don't freak out when a piece gets taken. They don't slam the board. They don't panic at temporary losses. They know the strategy is bigger than the moment. That's how you need to move with this connection. No more emotional swings. No more impulsive decisions. No more panicked conclusions. Here's another gut punch quote. Silence isn't weakness. Silence is the space where real healing happens. The universe isn't ignoring you. It's rearranging things behind the scenes. Healing doesn't happen in noise. Alignment doesn't happen in chaos. Sometimes the universe has to mute the interaction so both of you can reset, calm down, and grow separately before reconnecting. And yes, that silence hurts. But the hurt doesn't mean it's over. Some connections need space so they don't break. You might wonder, but what if they think I don't care? If the bond is real, their spirit feels you even when their ears don't hear you. Chosen one, every time you choose restraint over reaction, focus over fear, patience over panic, the enemy loses ground. You're not fighting the person, you're fighting for the connection. And this is how you win. By staying aligned, staying disciplined, and refusing to let emotional chaos rewrite a story the universe still intends to finish. Number 8. This ending you're afraid of isn't an ending at all. Enemies celebrate too early because they mistake your pause for your finish. Chosen one, breathe for a second and look past the chaos. What feels like everything collapsing around you is not destruction, it's transition. The universe isn't pulling things apart to punish you. It's repositioning everything so the next chapter can land exactly where it needs to. But the enemy wants you to see this moment as failure. He wants you to think the silence is permanent, the distance is final, and the bond is dead. It isn't. Not even close. Here's the truth you're forgetting. What looks like loss is often the universe clearing space for the real alignment. Right now, your heart feels stretched thin. You're tired, you're frustrated, you're replaying the last conversation, the last moment, the last shift. But the heaviness you feel isn't grief. It's growing pains, the kind that show up right before something massive breaks through. Imagine a caterpillar in the cocoon stage. The world thinks it's gone, still, silent, finished. But inside the cocoon, everything is transforming, bones shifting, wings forming, purpose unfolding. From the outside, it looks like nothing is happening. From the inside, everything is happening. That's your connection right now. Hidden movement, quiet restructuring, transformation disguised as silence. You may wonder, but if this isn't the end, why does it hurt this much? Because evolution always feels like breaking before it feels like becoming. Here's another quote that slices right into the enemy's ego. Your tears aren't proof you're losing. They're proof you're still fighting for something real. Every moment you stayed instead of running, every time you held on instead of shutting down, every time you believed in the unseen, that wasn't weakness, that was alignment. People who carry destiny don't get to grow without pressure. They get sharpened, stretched, upgraded, and that's exactly what this bond is doing to you. Imagine a story paused mid-chapter, not ended, paused. The pages ahead already exist, but you haven't reached them yet. The universe hasn't closed the book on this connection. It's simply rewriting the next part. Chosen one, hold your ground. The promise hasn't died. The purpose hasn't faded. This bond is not finished. It's preparing. And your story? It's nowhere near the final page. Number 9. The universe never pulls you towards someone without reason. Enemies panic when a connection refuses to die because it means the universe is still working behind the scenes. Chosen one, let's stop pretending this pull is random. If the universe wanted this bond gone, it would have dissolved without effort. You wouldn't feel their energy at 2 a.m. Their name wouldn't pop into your mind out of nowhere. The memories wouldn't replay like a movie you didn't ask to watch. The pull would have faded like every meaningless person who passed through your life, but it didn't. And that alone should tell you everything. Your intuition didn't malfunction. It's warning you. It's nudging you. It's doing that annoying thing where it won't shut up until you acknowledge the truth. This person matters not because you're obsessed, not because you're weak, but because something about them ties into your future in ways your present self can't fully see yet. Imagine a compass spinning wildly until it locks onto true north. That's your spirit reacting to this person. You can try to distract yourself, bury your feelings, pretend you've moved on, but the compass doesn't lie. Alignment doesn't lie. Energy doesn't lie. Ask yourself this: if this was meaningless, why does the universe keep putting them back in my awareness? Why do signs show up? Why do you feel their shift before they even speak? Why do you sense them even in silence? Here's a truth that hits brutally. What your mind tries to dismiss, your spirit will keep dragging back into the light. The universe doesn't repeat messages unless they're important. And the message here is clear. Don't walk away just because the journey got uncomfortable. Don't mistake pressure for rejection. Don't mistake silence for ending. The pull is your proof that the story isn't done. Imagine trying to rip a thread out of a tapestry. You pull, it tightens. You pull harder, it curves the entire design. That's why letting go feels wrong. This connection is woven into a bigger picture. Chosen one, this pull isn't a glitch, it's guidance. If you ignore it, you're not escaping pain. You're sabotaging your own timeline. The universe never pulls you towards someone without reason, and it never lets you walk away before the purpose is complete. Number 10. The bond lives because its purpose isn't finished. Enemies lose sleep over one thing, a connection that refuses to die no matter how many times life tries to bury it. Chosen one, let's call this bond what it really is, unfinished business wrapped in destiny-level energy. If this connection were truly over, it would have vanished clean. No echoes, no memories resurfacing, no random waves of emotion hitting you out of nowhere, no signs showing up at the most inconvenient moments. Bonds that are done stay dead. But this one, it keeps breathing, it keeps returning, it keeps tapping your spirit like a reminder you can't mute. And there's a reason for that. Its purpose isn't complete. Something still needs to unfold. Something still needs to be learned, healed, revealed, or rebuilt. You and this person are carrying energy that hasn't reached its final form yet. And unfinished energy doesn't disappear. It waits. It circles. It returns until its mission is done. Imagine pausing a movie right before the twist. You walk away, but your mind won't, because the story wasn't finished. That's exactly what's happening inside you. Your spirit knows there's more. Your intuition can feel everything your logic is trying to downplay. Ask yourself, if this bond was meaningless, why does it revive every time I try to move on? Why do you feel their emotions without words? Why does silence feel temporary instead of final? Why does the connection bend but never actually break? Here's a gut punch truth. What the universe starts, it refuses to leave halfway. This bond didn't glitch into your life. It arrived with purpose, and purpose doesn't vanish because things got difficult. Hard seasons don't signal endings, they signal rewrites, they signal growth. They signal transformation. Imagine two magnets pulled apart. There's tension, yes, but the pull remains. The connection is still charged, still alive, still waiting for alignment. That's you and this person. The energy is unfinished, and unfinished energy always returns for completion. Chosen one, stop trying to bury what the universe keeps resurrecting. This bond still lives because its purpose is still unfolding, and deep down you can feel that truth humming in your spirit. Number 11. Your future self is begging you not to walk away. Enemies don't need to destroy your destiny. They just need you to abandon the very thing your future self is built on. Chosen one, if you could meet the version of you 10 years from now, the stronger, clearer, wiser you, they would grab your shoulders and tell you one thing with fire in their eyes. Don't walk away from this yet. Because they already know what you can't fully see. They've lived through the consequences. They've felt the ripple effects. They've seen what happens when this bond is honored, and what happens when it's abandoned too soon. Regret doesn't show up loud. It creeps in quietly. It waits until you're healed enough to realize what you lost. It whispers, "You quit," right before everything was about to make sense. And that is the weapon the enemy wants to use against you. Not destruction, but future regret. Imagine standing at a crossroads where one path leads to peace and alignment, and the other leads to years of wondering, what if I had just held on a little longer? Your future self already knows which path belongs to you. They've seen how this connection shapes your character, softens your spirit, sharpens your mind, and expands your capacity to love and be loved. They've seen the transformation that this bond triggers, not because it's perfect, but because it stretches you into who you're meant to become. Ask yourself, if walking away was truly the right move, why does the thought feel like grief instead of freedom? Why does your chest get tight? Why does your intuition hesitate? Why does your heart feel like it's betraying itself? Here's a quote that slices straight through the noise. Your future self remembers the moment you walked away and the life you never stepped into because of it. Imagine a book where the final chapters are written in gold ink, chapters filled with breakthrough, clarity, alignment, healing, but you close the book halfway because the plot got heavy. Your future self has read those golden pages. They know this connection plays a role in your evolution. They're not begging you to stay stuck. They're begging you not to sabotage your own timeline. Chosen one, don't trade decades of growth for a moment of fear. Don't let temporary pressure rewrite your entire destiny. Don't give the enemy the satisfaction of watching you abandon a bond that was meant to shape your becoming. Your future self is calling out to you from ahead, telling you to hold the line, trust the pull, and see this through. Because what's coming is worth every second of endurance. So, chosen one, you made it to the end because this message was meant for you. Nothing you feel is random. Nothing you're pulled toward is without purpose. The universe is shaping something powerful through you, and walking away now would only delay what's already aligned for your path. If this hit your spirit, press the like button if you haven't already, and if you're still not part of our family, make sure to press subscribe. Stay aligned, stay aware, and stay ready. Your story is far from over.